You've been doing a great job working through your Kinetix project, and finally, you are ready to do some positioning. And you've actually been doing positioning, you just haven't realized it. Let's peek into our left axis and see what all we can learn in it. So right-click left axis, and we want to go to monitor. That's going to take you directly to it in the controller tags. It's exactly the same as double-clicking here and doing it, except it has it highlighted for us. And if we hit our arrow, then inside of it, we can see a lot of data about our axis. And if we go down a little bit, we are going to see our left axis actual position. And mine is at 1244.72, which pretty much means it took me 1244 rotations of this thing to get you to this point in these videos. How many do you have? Put it down in the comments. For this one though, we could roll this thing back 1244 times to get us where we want to be, but I'd rather set a 0 point on this. And in addition, if we look here on your Kinetix trainer, we have degrees along here. And I want us to do a little scaling on this next, and we want this to be our 0 position. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to disable our servo. Now we haven't actually put anything in our program to disable it yet. So let's go and bring a new rung down, and I'm going to bring mine directly below the MSO instruction because it is going to work with it pretty much when we're not on. I want it to be off, and I'm going to do the same thing we kind of did here with our jog. If this is not enabled, then we will run this. So go to your favorites tab and bring down a go look for a 0, examine off. And we want this left axis MSO. And then we want to double click into it. And we're going to grab the enable bit. And if you're not sure why we're grabbing the enable bit, then check out the previous video. I'll have a link to the whole series in the description. And then let's go to the motion state instruction group. And we want this MSF. And that is going to turn our axis off. So we're going to select our left axis. And for control, we are going to put left servo MSO. And for our motion control, we're going to put left axis MSF. Right click that new tag and create. And that'll get us off. So finalize that. And right now, if I try to turn the servo, I'm feeling resistance. And if I right click our left servo on and I toggle the bit, that's going to make this one true. And now I can freely turn the servo. And I'm going to rotate it around to 0 here. And now we want this to be 0. And currently I'm at 1244.03. So let's bring down a new rung. And for now, we're just going to make it where we can toggle it just like we've been starting with all the rest of them. And we're going to bring a go look for 1, examine on, and this will be left. And I'm going to call this my left axis 0 position. And we'll right click it, new, create. And then let's go over to our motion move instruction group. And we want to bring down this MRP instruction. And we'll select our axis as the left axis. And then for our motion control, I'm going to call this our left axis MRP. And we'll right click it, new, and create. And then we have a type. And so this could be the absolute position or this could be the relative position. We're going to do the absolute position. This is where I want to set the actual 0 at. And then we have the position select. Do you want to change the actual position or the command position? And we may talk about the command in later videos, but for now, we're going to be doing the actual. And then what position we want? Well, we want 0.0. And let's go ahead and finalize that. And then it would be cool if we could see this while we're doing all this. And we actually are going to use a watch window to this. So highlight the left axis actual position and let's right click it and copy it. And up at the top, go to view and then watch. That way we get a little watch window down here just so we can see when and what happens. And we're going to need it throughout these. So I'm just going to paste that in and press the enter key. And that gives me the value. And mainly now I can go here and right click my left axis. And the moment I toggle it, it takes my position to 0. So now we're ready to do some positioning. And we're going to start doing positioning with the motion axis move instruction, the MAM here. So bring another new rung down. And Let's go look for one, examine on from our favorites tab. And this will be our left axis move to position. And right click it, new, and then create. And then let's go back to that motion axis move group. And let's bring down the MAM instruction. And for our axis, this will be our left axis. And for our motion control, this is going to be my left axis MAM. And we'll right click that, new, create. And then we have a move type. And let's go look at the options because you're going to need to look at several things in this MAM. So just right click it and go to instruction help. And if we go down just a little bit, we have a move type. And there are several options available. So we have an absolute move, incremental move, and this one is one we'll probably play with a little bit. We also have rotary shortest path, rotary positive, rotary negative, and we have some offsets. For this one, we are just going to do an absolute move because we actually haven't set this up as a rotary axis yet. We're going to do that later. So we're going to enter a value of 0. 0 there. And then we have our position. And so I'm going to put this as my left axis commanded position. And we're going to right click it, new. Only this time, this is one that I want us to put a real number on instead of the default of double integer. And we have a speed, and we'll just keep the speed at 25% of maximum. And we see we have a red X because even though it's hidden, we got some more stuff to work with down here. We have an accelerate. We're going to make that 100, and we'll make the units percent of maximum. We have a decel rate of 100, and it will be percent of maximum. And then we have a profile here, and we're going to do that same trapezoidal profile. Then we have an accel jerk, and we'll put it at 100%. And we have a decel jerk, which we'll also put at 100%. And then we have our units. I'm just going to put that at percent of maximum. Then we have a merge speed. And since we're not using it, it doesn't matter, but we'll just put it at the program. And then we have lock position, and we're not using it. So we're just going to put it at 0. Lock direction, we're going to put it as none. Then we have an event distance. We're going to set it for 0. And calculated data, we're going to set it for 0 also. And that gives us enough to get there. So go ahead and finalize that edit. And currently, our units are in revolutions. So 1 unit is 1 full turn of them. So in our commanded position right here, I'm going to put a value of 1. Now let's right click the left axis move position. And when we hit the toggle bit, it doesn't rotate. Now let's go look at why. And to find that out, we're going to right click the left axis MAM, and we're going to monitor it. And then we want to hit the arrow beside of it. And we want to find our error code. And this is error code 5. And to find out what error code 5 is, we're going to right click the MAM and go to instruction help. And we'll go down to the very bottom. And at the bottom, we have our motion error codes. And error 5 is close the servo loop before executing your command. And that is because we didn't turn the servo on. Now, later on, we'll need to put things in here to keep this type of thing from happening. But for now, we're going to go up to our left servo on where we have the MSO instruction. We're going to right click it and we're going to toggle it on. And that's going to enable our servo. And if we right click our left axis move to position, then when we toggle bit, it's going to give us 1 full revolution. Now we won't always want it to be like in revolutions. For example, here we put a scale on this of 0 to 360 degrees. So it'd be a lot easier if we could just say go 90 degrees and it go to 90 instead of us, having to do all this math and everything. And we're going to do that on our left axis configuration. And we're going to have to do this while we're offline. But let's go look at it first so we see that it's grayed out. As we're going to go to this scaling here. And what we need to change is this position units per motor rev. And we make this 360, then we'll be able to command it in degrees. So let's go ahead and go communications, go offline. And we're going to change this to 360. And we hit apply to this, and it says you have changed a parameter which affects other attributes. Do you want to automatically update these dependent attributes? And we can click help and get the dependent attributes, but let's mainly talk about it. Is right now our speed is in revolutions per second. And so we set our maximum speed to 2 revolutions a second. And that's going to be incredibly slow when we make this 360. So let's see what happens. We're going to go ahead and click yes to this. And then we're going to go back to our planner tab that we used in a previous video. And notice how much it increased our numbers. This was at 2, and it's going back to calculating this based off the motor parameters. So for now, I want to put this at 720. That's going to get us back to that 2 RPM. And honestly, we can just put these back down at 100 just so we can do some easy math later on. Plot it. We'll click OK. And let's go ahead and download this. And now we're going to need to re-enable our servo because it's right here. And we have a video talking about pre-scan, but when this went from program to run mode, it turned off this output. So we're just going to right click it and toggle it. And now if we go up and toggle left servo on, that's going to get our servo back on. Now if we right click the left axis, move to position, when we press the toggle bit, it's going to rotate exactly 1 revolution. Now you got a challenge. You need to take everything you've learned and put it into your right-hand axis, because next we're going to talk about gearing the left axis to the right axis. And click here to follow me over there.